Welcome back to API Kitchen, where we cook up secure APIs. I'm confident stably your chef de cuisine in this unique kitchen. Last week, we discussed a critical but often overlooked area of API management, logging and monitoring. We concluded by saying that our logs should be meticulously garnished with all the necessary details to ensure that we can serve up accountability and traceability on a silver platter. But today, we are continuing from where we left off, simmering a stew of logs and metrics, seasoned with best practices to safeguard our digital bouquet from unwanted guests. Our recipe for success begins with preparing the right ingredients. We need to know when each action takes place, marked with a date and time in UTC, where it occurs, whether in an application or an API or a specific block of code, and who takes each action, identified not by sensitive personal data, but by masked identifiers like device IDs or anonymized user identities. But beware, my fellow chefs, logging unwanted data is like oversalting our dish. It can lead to a leak of sensitive information, leaving a bitter aftertaste of vulnerability. That's exactly what this whole episode will be about. So let's get cooking. Step 1, mixing the perfect blend. What to log or what not to log? That is the question. In our kitchen, we log actions like login, logout, transfer, and approve. We note the result, whether it's a success or a failure, and the level of the log, be it an error, a warning, or just information. We carefully avoid logging sensitive details like complete bank account numbers, personal identifiers, or session IDs. Instead, we opt for logging the essentials: actions, results, level of importance, and when necessary, obfuscated or indirect references for the extra layer of security. Step 2, a dash of discretion. Every chef knows that discretion is key. In our digital kitchen, we use techniques like masking to keep our logs clean and our diners' data private. We don't log what our users have asked us to keep off the record, respecting their choices as we would their dietary restrictions. Step 3, the garnish of governance. And now, to garnish our dish, we must consider additional logging considerations, like 1, defining log retention policies to manage our pantry of logs without wasting storage space. Another one will be configuring alerts based on the aroma of predefined thresholds or the scent of anomalies. Another consideration will be developing custom dashboards for real-time insights, like a window into the oven of our application's health. Lastly, implementing automated actions or responses, like a kitchen that adjusts the flame when it senses the need for more heat. These are the guidelines that ensure our digital delicacies are both delectable and secure, ready to be served with confidence. Our guests will be joining us today at the virtual kitchen. Let's go hear what they have to say about fixing this security issue. And our guest for today is Gbolabo Awelewa. He is the Chief Solutions Officer of CyberVigilance, formerly known as InfoPrave, a digital trust company. Welcome, Gbolabo, to the API Kitchen.
Thank you very much, Confidence.
Oh, may I say welcome back?
Well, I was excited when I was invited back. Who doesn't love food?
Great. So delving straight into the questions, Bo, from a security and data protection as well as privacy compliance perspective, would you say there's such a thing as logging unwanted data? If yes, give us examples of what this type of data may be and why we shouldn't log this type of information.
Thank you very much. So logging unwanted data is actually a bit of a security paradox. Why? Because the data is called unwanted data not because it's not usable, but it's actually data that shouldn't be logged. And going straight to the point is data like your password, personal identifiable information, critical information that is not required for a specific transaction, a specific operation, don't need to be logged. So why it's called logging unwanted data is it's an act of saying don't put information out when it's not required. And then administrators or managers of specific platforms, API managers, API security specialists, their job is now to ensure you are streamlining the specific data that is used during transactions to just the ones required. And then this all definitely prevents you from specific breaches or possibly falling out of compliance from a data compliance perspective, and possibly lawsuits for sharing information that shouldn't have been shared in the first place.
That's very helpful. Thank you for that very comprehensive response that really touches on the key point. And I'm asking every guest on this season of API Kitchen a particular question, and that question is: what is one underutilized API security best practice that you consider the salt of the earth, a basic yet potent aspect that may greatly improve an organization's security posture?
So when we go through a lot of write-ups and operationally how we should secure APIs, a lot of best practices really apply. The most popular one is authentication. But the one that's so much often has been overlooked is rate limiting. I usually would emphasize the implementation of rate limiting based on how it simplifies and preserves the availability of the APIs. Rate limiting typically is your solution to preventing against DDoS attacks or specific breaches, because when you set a limit, a disconnection occurs, and except the session is still running, that's when you consummate the transaction or you continue a connection. Rate limiting typically just ensures continuous availability of APIs for, productive usage. Leaving it open at times without a limit literally exposes you to a DDoS. And if there's some sort of information available that can be utilized for an open connection, and it would lead to either a breach of information, might lead to you falling out of compliance. And all you have to do is have that set up. Today, big organizations are setting up their API ecosystem. They call it the API economy. And you can literally use this specific tool, set up a rate limit for API connections, and this literally just operationally saves you from possible breaches or possible compliance issues.
Thank you so much for joining us today at the Virtual Kitchen. Remember, chefs, a pinch of prevention is worth a pound of cure. With the right blend of logs and metrics, we can prevent the kitchen fires before they start and keep our digital delight safe for all to enjoy. And that's how you secure an API in our kitchen. In the coming episodes, we'll be discussing even more API security issues and walking you through how to solve them. Remember to subscribe to CCNet TV and hit the notification bell so you don't miss new episodes of API Kitchen showing each Thursday. Until then, keep your kitchen clean, your code cleaner, and your APIs secure.